Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast, and welcome to another edition of the State of the Saints podcast. Of course, we talk New Orleans Saints. Thank you for tuning in, and whether you're checking this out on YouTube, Facebook, or the audio podcast, I really do appreciate it. We're going to be talking about the New Orleans Saints and quarterback Taysom Hill on this edition. We're going to be talking about Taysom Hill, and in a few minutes, I'm going to explain why we're talking about Taysom Hill and why the topic of conversation is, will Taysom Hill play quarterback exclusively this 2020 season? But I want to also make a few announcements before I get started. On tomorrow on the State of the Saints podcast, we will have Rod Walker. Some of you probably know Rod Walker from the Times-Picayune down in New Orleans as a sports writer. He's going to be on the show. And on Thursday, we're going to have former left tackle, Super Bowl champion, Jermaine Bushrod will be on the State of the Saints podcast. So we have a busy week here on the State of the Saints podcast, and hopefully you tune in to those interviews. And also, I want to give a special shout out to Amy Just. I did an interview with her, and just want to thank her for her time. She really gave us some things to talk about in the Who Dat Nation, and honestly, she gave us the topic of conversation on this edition. And we're going to be talking about Taysom Hill because during the interview that I did with Amy Just, she brought up a very interesting, situation that happened at Saints training camp involving Taysom Hill. Now, we all know that Taysom Hill is the quarterback of the Saints, but we also know that he is a Swiss Army knife. And for those that don't know what a Swiss Army knife is, well, I wonder what rock that you've been living under, or what cave you've been chilling in for the last million gazillion years. But a Swiss Army knife is a player that can do multiple things. And but according to Amy Just, surprisingly, Taysom Hill hasn't really been doing any of those things. But overall, how has Taysom Hill been in training camp so far? What have you seen from him?
He's looked good. He was getting those, number 2 reps behind Drew, at least for now. He looks good. He hasn't been super involved yet at, wide receiver, tight end, insert position here. So is that indicative of what they plan to do with him? I don't know. Does he need to practice at wide receiver? He does a pretty good job. So we'll see how that ends up working out, but so far so good.
Yeah, man. I mean, I was shocked. Honestly, I would have thought that Taysom Hill would have been playing all the different positions that he played last season. But according to Amy Just, he hasn't done anything except play the quarterback position. Now, she did mention, I want to make sure I bring this up. She did mention that there are practices that take place that are not open to the media. So as far as she knows, he probably has been running offensive plays at the wide receiver position, at the tight end position, running back. She doesn't know. She made sure that is known, and I want to make sure that is mentioned here on the State of the Saints podcast. But just for him to be playing exclusively quarterback for the media, I really think that is something that we need to look at. And I also think we need to understand that the Saints did make quite a bit of a commitment to Taysom Hill. I mean, 2 years, $21 million, if I'm not mistaken. So you're not going to give a guy that type of money and not be invested in him in some way, shape, or form. And I do also feel that the New Orleans Saints want to give Taysom Hill an opportunity to legitimately try to be the successor to Drew Brees. Now, we know that Jameis Winston is here. Jameis Winston is a first overall pick in the 2015 NFL draft. We know that he was a starter in Tampa. We knew he threw for 5,000 yards last season. He threw 30 plus touchdowns, 30 interceptions. But we know that Jameis Winston can win. We know that Jameis Winston has been a winner. I mean, this guy is a national champion. If you want to look at it from a college perspective, and I know some people like, well, it really doesn't matter what you do in college. It's about what you do in the pros. But when it comes to Jameis Winston, he has proven that he can win you football games, and he has proven that he can play well. But I think the New Orleans Saints really want to give Taysom Hill an opportunity to be that number two. I mean, she even mentioned that he's taking the number two quarterback snaps, which is another thing that we have to bring up. I mean, a thing where we have to discuss. I mean, Jameis Winston, unlike Teddy Bridgewater, he's been playing the number three role. Okay, we know Teddy Bridgewater, when he came in, he was Drew Brees' backup, and Taysom Hill was doing his Swiss Army thing. But now Taysom Hill is taking backup snaps. I'm really shocked by these turn of events. I mean, I really am. But the question of the night is, do you think that Taysom Hill is going to play quarterback exclusively? And as the show go on, we got to discuss some of the things that could prevent him from hitting the field. And one person that a lot of people are very high on right now, whether it's the media or people in the Who Dat Nation, is Ty Montgomery, who we're going to be talking about a little bit later, and how he could possibly take over that Swiss Army role that Taysom Hill once had. But I want to say thank you to everybody in the chat. I see people are filing in. I see so many individuals that are familiar to me here in the Who Dat Nation and on the State of the Saints podcast. So for that, I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you for all those that have been supporting the State of the Saints podcast and have been very instrumental to the success that we have been gaining as a podcast. I want to say thank you all very much. And for all the new viewers and listeners of the State of the Saints podcast, I say welcome to you. This is an open forum podcast. It's not about donating money. It's not about, how much money you donate. I'm gonna read your comments if you don't donate. I don't roll like that. Okay. If you donate to the State of the Saints podcast, I'm appreciative of that. I appreciate it. Don't get me wrong. But I do acknowledge those in the chat that have something to say. And I try to answer as many questions as I can. And I know a lot of people inboxed me the other day, say that I didn't read their question. I want to say I apologize. But sometimes when we have a lot of people inside the chat, sometimes some of the questions get skipped over. So I do apologize for that. I want to make sure that I read as many of the questions and comments as I possibly can. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get this thing started. Number one, we see Jerry Poor, of course, the OG of the State of the Saints podcast. He's in the building. He says he enjoyed the interview that I did with Amy Just. I appreciate that. I appreciate that, Jerry. I enjoyed doing it too. I mean, Amy Just, me saying that she's incredibly kind, it doesn't do it justice, you know what I'm saying, to how I really feel. You know what I'm saying? I think that she's an incredible reporter. But I mean, after we went off the air, you know what I'm saying, we talked for about 5-10 minutes just joking around about some of the things that were going on at training camp, mostly Jameis Winston, So, she's such a kind person, man. So, I mean, I really enjoyed that interview. Breath of fresh air and wonderful person. Brian, what's going on? He says hi. We got Josh, the Saints fan. He's in the building. We got Jerry in the building saying what's that? We got Kent Jackson, familiar. We got the Baddest Sports Show, man. Man, y'all check your boy out, man. Baddest Sports Show on Facebook, man. Go ahead and drop that down up in that Everett. I think that's Everett, if I'm not mistaken, man. Go ahead and drop that information down so people can follow the Facebook page. This brother is passionate about the Saints. He will get on you if you criticize Drew Brees. But all in all, an incredible guy and a great mind for football, man. So make sure you drop it down, Everett. let everybody know, you know what I'm saying, how they can get in touch with you on Facebook, man. Great page. Lori, what's going on? Lori chiming in, said no. I guess she's saying that she feels like Taysom Hill is going to be that Swiss Army knife. So we're gonna get into that, Lori. We're gonna get into that. I promise you, there's some logic behind me saying this, and there's some reasons that we have to pay attention to that could prevent him from hitting the field. Okay, so we'll see. Once again, Jared says nope. Mr. Pops 3000 says, TJ, who that? Man, what's going on, Mr. Pops 3000? Josh says, I would say no, but you never know. I mean, you never know. That is true. Jerry also says, TJ, why did the Saints release linebacker Nigel Bradham? I was not happy about that. Well, Jerry, I think that the Saints were very comfortable with who they had in the linebacker room. I feel like the linebackers that the Saints actually had, they felt like they can roll with those guys. I mean, you got to look at Nigel Bradham. No OTA, no minicamp. He is a seasoned veteran. He has played 9 years in the NFL, and he is a Super Bowl champion, so he brings that cachet and credibility to the team. However, you have players on the New Orleans Saints team. You got Demario Davis. You got Caden Ellis. You got Zach Bond, who just came in. You got Craig Robertson, right? You got Kiko Alonso. I mean, what is the common denominator here, Jerry? It's the fact that the guys that I mentioned played on this team last year, which means even though Mike Nolan is in Dallas, in comes Mike Hodges, who was the assistant linebacker coach and is familiar familiar with the defense, familiar with these linebackers, and they are familiar with him. Okay, Nigel Bradham is on the outside looking in. If they had OTAs, minicamp, maybe we'll be singing another song. But I feel like that hurt him, the fact that they signed him in all season, but he really didn't have an opportunity to connect with the coaching staff and also get acclimated with the defense. So he was already playing behind the 8 ball. And not to mention, there are some stories that I read. Now, I don't know how legit they are, okay? But there were stories that said that Dennis Allen and Mike Hodges really had to kind of shove him and nudge him a tad bit to get him motivated, and they wanted to see more out of him. When the question was asked, what did they think about Nigel Bradham? It was always, we'll see. You know what I'm saying? He's competing. And when you hear guys saying he's competing and not he's doing well, or we see some good things, it's very alarming. So I feel like it's the combination of him not making splashes, and the fact that all those other linebackers were there last year and they are ahead of the curve. I mean, you can exclude Zach Bond. I mean, you drafted him, so there's no way in the world they're going to try to get rid of him. I mean, especially being a 3rd round pick. He was the outside guy, so I'm pretty sure he'll probably land in Carolina somewhere, because we already know that they love New Orleans Saints players all of a sudden. And anybody that was in the Saints locker room, around the Saints locker room, had a key card at one time, but, gave it away. If the key card, it was next to your cell phone and it went out and they had to go to the lobby and get another key card, they're going to sign the guys from the New Orleans Saints organization. So would not be surprised if Nigel Bradham ended up in Carolina. I mean, it's just my personal opinion. Joe says, what up, TJ? I think Hill not playing quarterback. He's back in his regular play as usual. Well, Joe, like I said, man, I had an interview today with Amy Just, and if you didn't check out the interview, Joe, check it out, man, if you got some time. She talked about how when they've been practicing, he's been playing exclusively quarterback. So that's the topic. That's the topic that we're running with tonight or today or this evening, wherever you're checking out this podcast. All right. I want to make sure I address everybody. Okay. So, but they said that he was just playing exclusively quarterback. So I feel like if that's the case, then that's something that's worth discussion. I mean, we know Taysom Hill was running, to different rooms last season. I mean, he was in the tight end room. He was in the special teams room. He was in the quarterback room. I mean, he was in a wide receiver and running back room. he was in every single room, man. So now that he's playing exclusively quarterback, I feel like, man, that is something that's very unusual and something worth talking about. Jerry said he loves Amy Just. Yeah, man, great. Like I said, great person, man. Shouts out to her. Brian says, and go somewhere else. We'll lose a great quarterback in Taysom Hill. We don't need to do that. Yeah, man, but that's just the nature of the beast, Brian. I mean, when you have players who are good, okay, I mean, they're not just good to the Saints organization or good to the Who Dat Nation. Other teams see these guys, okay, and they know that the Saints aren't going to be able to keep all these guys. They're not. That's the realism of it all, folks. They're not going to be able to keep all the talent. Okay, that is why you have to be in win now mode. I mean, you think about the Seattle Seahawks, right? When they had that magical 2-year stretch, when they went to back-to-back Super Bowls, won one, lost the other. When they started losing individuals, you know what I'm saying? When they started to lose different guys and guys started to go to different teams, taking the money and running. I mean, it brought down, you know what I'm saying, the credibility and also the defense of the team. I mean, Cam Chancellor started to get old, dealing with neck injuries. He decided to retire. Brandon Browner ended up going to the New England Patriots, playing 1 year, chasing after the money. Like there's so many other guys that were on that team. I think Malcolm Smith, you know what I'm saying, he ended up going to the Raiders. So when guys start to, develop and get good, you know what I'm saying, and don't win a Super Bowl. I mean, these guys are trying to probably sell themselves to the highest bidder at that time. I mean, not many people want to stay with the same organization if they have opportunity to go somewhere else, make more money, and they already established themselves as a Super Bowl champion. I mean, that's just the way that it is, man. We have to remember, like, we love these players, but it's a business at the same time. I mean, just look at the case in point of Von Bell. I mean, Von Bell went from going to a playoff caliber team in the New Orleans Saints to what the worst team, okay? I mean, record-wise last season in the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, I do feel like Cincinnati is going to be better that Joe Burrow is there as quarterback, but I mean, they still have an uphill climb. They still have a young team, and they got a coach, in his second season who still hasn't proven himself. So, I mean, that tells you everything you need to know about the NFL being a business. So, David Augustine says, "What up, TJ? Who that, man? What's going on, David? Appreciate it." A Baddest Sports Show says, "Old school Deontay Harris." Yeah, man, Deontay Harris. I'll talk about him in a minute. I think he needs to be addressed as well. Annie, thank you very much for the $10. She says, "Great channel." Like, man, you all make this channel great. Like, you all make this channel great is because of you. I said it at the beginning, and for those that just chimed in and filed in, this channel is hitting its stride because of you all. I don't think people would be interested in what I have to say if you all weren't liking and sharing these videos that I'm putting out. But I appreciate everybody. I appreciate everybody coming to the channel, leaving your comments, supporting the channel since day one. Thank you all for seeing the vision with me, man. And we ain't done by a long shot. I mean, the sky's the limit for the channel. You know what I'm saying? We want to make sure that we're giving the best content possible. I want to make sure that I'm giving you all some content that you all can enjoy. And like I said, this is only the beginning. So thank you all very much. Baddest Sports Show said, definitely Deontay Harris. Yeah, Deontay Harris. I guess you talking about Devontae Harris? Because I mean, Devontae Harris, man, we don't need to be talking about him, man. That's just straight smoked turkey right there. Okay, Deontay Harris. Okay, I'm down with Devontae Harris. Smoke. And he also says, "Who that?" Let's throw down a tad bit. Kitrell says, "TJ, enjoy all the wonderful information we're receiving. Keep up the good work." I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for checking it out. I appreciate that. Real talk. Ronnie says, "What's good, TJ?" Shouts out to Ronnie. Shouts out to Ronnie from The Shot. I don't know if people watch The Shot, man, but rest in peace to Ronnie on The Shot. I like that show, man. I love The Shot, man. I don't know if y'all watch that or not, but it's a great show, man. If you haven't, check it out. Brandon said, "What's up? Oakland, California in the building. Who that? Yeah, man. What's going on, man? All the way in Oakland, California, man. Oaktown in the house. Man, shouts out to MC Hammer. Shouts out to MC Hammer, man. Ray Long says, "What's good, TJ? The man had the same amount of touchdowns as Julio Jones. He's too deadly to not use." Good interview, by the way. Yeah, man, that's a good point. But Ray, you also have to look at the fact that we don't want to get this guy hurt and him lose his opportunity at the chance to possibly become a starting quarterback in the league. Now, when you invest $21 million in a guy, you don't just invest $21 million in a guy and just have him doing all these crazy things. I think the Saints are really going to be looking at what they're asking him to do now, okay? Especially, now we're going to talk about him. Ty Montgomery is in the building. Okay, I don't understand how this guy just rose from the ashes like a phoenix like he has. I mean, for the last couple years in Baltimore and in New York, this guy has been quiet as a church mouse. But it seems like to me he has resurrected himself, and the Saints and the coaching staff and the players cannot get enough of Ty Montgomery. Ty Montgomery wears number 88 because he is supposed to be a receiver. But if you follow him in Green Bay, you know he ran between the tackles and he was really, really good running the football. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He can play in the slot. You can line him up in so many different ways. This guy is going to be a weapon for the New Orleans Saints. And I feel like because he's here and because he is doing so well in camp, I mean, you can't unnotice this guy. You cannot notice how good this guy is. You cannot, okay? You cannot avoid this guy because he is making a lot of noise. Every time his number is called, he is stepping up. And the fact that Alvin Kamara for the last 2 days has been dealing with a stomach bug, he has been in the rotation with Latavius Murray. I'm going to say that again. He has been in the rotation with Latavius Murray. Keep in mind, for the last 3 seasons, the Saints have a running back that is pretty good in Dwayne Washington. I mean, that tells you everything you need to know about Ty Montgomery. I feel like the Saints are going to use him in a bunch of ways, and it might cause us to miss Taysom Hill just a tad bit. And when Taysom Hill is in a game, we might see him throwing the football more than the RPO game. So be on the lookout. Be on the lookout for Ty Montgomery. He might be the reason why Taysom Hill don't take as many snaps as he once did. So I mean, that's just my opinion, man. Ty Montgomery has really been he been making some noise in camp. Jermaine, man, what's going on, man? My frat brother Jermaine in the building says, TJ, you telling the truth. The Seahawks built for about 3, then dominated for 2. Some of the athletes had to begin parting ways. Yeah, I mean, that's just the way it is. So when teams start to get good, other organizations start looking at the players and like, man, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, you need to get him. We need to get him. You know, like they start to really focus on why this team is so good. And they start looking at contracts. They start looking at guys that can actually help their team be successful. So it happens, okay? So the Saints are going to they're going to lose some guys, and they're going to be guys that we love in the Who Dat Nation. They're probably going to be guys that we felt like were untapped potential, but they're going to lose them, man. That's just the way the game is. So happy you had Amy on the show. Yeah, me too, man. I enjoyed the conversation. Brian says, can you fix yourself? You're a little fuzzy there on the screen. I don't know why. Probably because the light bright. I don't know. I'm fuzzy. Let's see. I don't know, man. You know, I don't know. Hopefully it's not too bad. Hopefully it's not too bad, man. If I'm fuzzy, I apologize. You know, probably because I had a light like on the opposite side of the room. Now I put the light like right in front of me, so that probably has something to do with it. So if I'm fuzzy, I apologize. I'm sorry, folks. This whole green screen thing is kind of new to me, so I'm kind of learning on the fly here. Patrick says, "Great pod, bro. I appreciate it, Patrick. Thank you so much, man." Josh says, "I think Ruiz is going to be a all-decade team player." Man, that's a lot to put out there, especially for a guy that hasn't taken a snap yet. I mean, things happen, knock on wood, you know, pending injury. I believe you. You know what I'm saying? I believe that he can be a transitional or you know what I'm saying, transcendent player. Okay, I think he can. You know what I'm saying? I think that the Saints have been looking for a while for the next Max Unger. And no disrespect to Eric McCoy, he has done an outstanding job, especially coming in as a rookie playing at center. But I feel like Cesar Ruiz, that is his primary position. I mean, he was a really good center when he was at the University of Michigan. There's a reason why the Saints used a first round pick on him. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do, man. He's super athletic. He's confident. He's a guy that I feel like he is one of the baddest mofos on the field. So I think that he can be one of those guys. I agree with you, but let's just hope that he can stay healthy to prove us right. David said, "This is the only place we can get Saints news. ESPN and NFL Network don't talk about the Saints." To be honest with you, David, that's one of the main reasons why I started this channel. The number one reason why I decided to start this channel was because me being in radio and in broadcasting, you know, I understand how important the listener is to the show. Okay. I mean, me doing my morning shows, you know, I understand that the most important person that is mostly important to the success of the show is the listener. I feel like sometimes, like when you listen to sports shows, when you, you know, call in, I feel like the person that is talking to you on the other end, you know, who is the host or the co-host, I feel like they make it too much about themselves. And I don't like that. I don't. I feel like the most important person is you. I feel like if you are in the booth for 4 hours, if you're there, I mean, everybody know who you are. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody know that you're pretty good at your job. Everybody know that you know what you're talking about. When people call in or when people chime in through the text, they want to be heard. And no disrespect to some of the you know, stations that I've tuned into, but I won't mention them by name. I just feel like they make it more about themselves and not about the listener. And that is something that I pride myself in doing, is to make sure that your voice matters as the Who Dat Nation, as a fan of the Saints. I mean, I'll talk and give my opinion, of course, but I want you all to feel comfortable in giving your opinion as well. And it shouldn't be about money, and it shouldn't be about recognition, and it shouldn't be about the fact that I'm a long time listener, a 100-time caller. You know what I'm saying? I feel like you should give the same energy to the long time listener, first time caller, than you would for a guy that you actually recognize, because the guy that you recognize is going to listen to your show regardless. That person that's calling for the first time, you might gain, you know, their respect and their listening ear for years to come if you answer their question on their phone call. And people want to matter. So that's what I try to do, man. I mean, I know that was a little bit of long spiel, but just wanted to, you know, bring you all inside of the mind and what I think about this and what I try to do on this show. Okay. I mean, this show is for you all. I'm always thinking about ways that I can make this show better and make the content better for you all to enjoy. So I think that's very important. And sometimes I feel like that's a lost art when it comes to podcasting and broadcasting, but we're going to find it here. Okay. We're going to find it here. We're going to bring it back and make it relevant here. Darrell Freeman says, so we might end up cutting a tie to make room for Washington. I doubt that, especially since you got with Johnson Badamosi, he's on IR. And Dwayne Washington mostly played on special teams. So I don't think that you're going to cut him. I think this guy is going to be a part of that rotation. The Saints are going to use him, believe it or not. I don't see him getting cut. I mean, not the way that he playing, not the way the articles are being written about him, not the way that he is standing out in training camp. No way. I don't know what the Saints would be thinking if they were to get rid of this guy. I mean, he is taking advantage of the reps he is getting. Jerry says Ty Montgomery sounds like a new kitchen appliance that you gotta have. I mean, yeah, you definitely gotta have him, man. I mean, he may not be the Swiss Army knife, man, but my goodness, man, he the George Foreman grill. I can tell you that. You know what I'm saying? He definitely necessary. He the dishwasher. You know what I'm saying? He the garbage disposal. No disrespect to I'm calling him garbage, but I'm just saying there are certain things in your kitchen that you need. You know what I'm saying? You need that garbage disposal. You need that dishwasher. For all my 9 dishwashers out there, okay? You need a guy like this that is a part of your organization, man. And why not? I mean, this guy comes to your organization not demanding a whole bunch of money, and man, he can be that guy. He can be that guy. I mean, we've seen Alvin Kamara get hurt in the middle of the season, and even though Latavius Murray did a good job, there was still something missing catching that ball out of the backfield that Alvin Kamara could have given you if he wasn't hurt. Ty Montgomery can give you that. In my opinion, Alvin Kamara is better than him, but I mean, if Alvin Kamara was to go down, I feel like Ty Montgomery would come in and he would take advantage of the reps. How important is the fullback to the Saints offense? I've noticed every time our fullback was hurt the last couple of years, Sean Payton shied away from the run and play action. We didn't play our best. That's a good question. It seems like a fullback is imperative and very important to the New Orleans Saints organization. I mean, there's a reason why they went out there and got a fan favorite John Kuhn. They got Zach Line, who ended up retiring. I mean, they got I want to say the guy's name was Ortiz, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, it seems like the Saints really have used fullbacks, rather it be in a passing game or blocking for the running back. So it is very important. I even seen Taysom Hill play a little bit of fullback last season. So I think that it's very important. And I think the Saints like athletic fullbacks too, guys that can catch the football. So I think they're going to use a fullback again, because I mean, honestly, I've never seen Sean Payton not have one. I mean, it tells you everything you need to know if I can just blurt out fullbacks like that. I mean, fullback is not a position, like, unless we talk about the 60s or something like that. Believe it or not, Jim Brown was a fullback. But I mean, when you're talking about the present day, I mean, fullbacks don't really come up like that. What's up with Gardner Johnson though? Having a good solid camp. Second season, he's come in. He's more knowledgeable of the defense. He had a rough first day. I mean, he was out there getting smoked like brisket, burnt like a biscuit, but he ended up turning the corner. And the passes that have been thrown his way, he has deflected them, almost picked them off. And they're saying he's having a really solid camp. So I think he's going to have a really good second year, and looking forward to seeing him play on the field in the nickel, because I don't see him playing a lot of safety this year. Brian says, do you have to give a guy a chance at quarterback when you got your job at a radio host? We gave you a shot, and we like you. Everybody deserves a shot in life. If they don't do good, then take it. Okay, Brian, that's a good point, and I appreciate that, man. I do agree. There's guys who deserve opportunities. The fact is Taysom Hill wasn't supposed to be a New Orleans Saint. Sean Payton was actually looking at the Green Bay Packers tape because of a wide receiver that they wanted to bring in. And Taysom Hill was just doing some amazing things. They said, man, bring him in too. So they end up getting him. This guy is, one of those guys who, basically earned everything he got. But Taysom Hill has never been a scrub. Okay. I don't know if people watch Taysom Hill in college, but Taysom Hill was really good, really talented, stayed hurt, but was really talented. And he does deserve an opportunity. That's why you have practice. That's why you give these guys an opportunity to compete. Jameis Winston, even though he is a New Orleans Saint now, even though he was the first pick overall, even though he started in Tampa, does not mean that Taysom Hill can't start over Jameis Winston. And honestly, Taysom Hill has the advantage right now because Jameis, no OTA, no minicamp, gets signed by the Saints. He's learning the playbook. He's learning the cadence. He has to learn all the different audibles. He got to learn the tendencies of these receivers. Taysom Hill, for the last 3 years, has been in the Saints offense. So he already has that advantage. So I'm not going to say that Sean Payton is going to turn his head. If Taysom Hill comes into practice and he performs well and he does a better job than Jameis Winston, I do not believe that Sean Payton is that stubborn. Now, we know he is stubborn, but he's not that stubborn to a point where he will turn a blind eye and lose an opportunity or risk an opportunity and bet on a guy that can actually give you a better chance of winning over a guy who just here, and has, a good resume, starting off, first pick overall, national champion, starting the league, So if Taysom Hill plays better than Jameis, I don't see a reason why the Saints wouldn't make him a number 2. I mean, that would be asinine on their part if they didn't. So John says, I've been loving all the great interviews. Been listening for a while now. TJ, do you do a sports show at your radio station? You need your own national sports show. Great job. Who that? John, I appreciate that, man. I don't know about the whole national thing. I mean, I think I don't know, man. One day, if God were to bless me to be in that position, I would take it. I mean, that is what I want to do for the rest of my life. I mean, it's no secret. I mean, I want to do sports. I've said this all the time. The reason I got into broadcasting because I feel like it's the one job that a person can live forever. I feel like my great grandkids, like they can pull up these videos and be able to see me, even if they never had any type of contact with me at all. You know what I'm saying? My great grandkids can see that. Other people, generations to come, can see that. That's the reason why I fell in love with broadcasting. But to answer your question, no, I don't do sports at the radio station I work at. Radio station I work at is 90.9 FM. WLGI. We play mostly uplifting music, encouraging music. We play different genres of music. The show that I host is called Morning Inspirations. We play mostly like gospel music in the mornings. I'm on the air from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Every morning, Monday through Friday. So y'all check it out. If you if you into gospel music, just check it out. I enjoy doing that too. I enjoy the interviewing process. I enjoy like learning different aspects of radio and broadcasting, and I love my job, man. But I definitely love doing sports a lot more, But I mean, I love both of them. 504 Hot Boy says Saints have a lot of big contracts coming up. Lattimore, Ramczyk would both reset their markets. Alvin Kamara and Davis need to be paid too. Yep. I mean, I wouldn't want to be the GM. I would not want to be Mickey Loomis. But, I mean, Mickey Loomis is a cap wizard. And I think if, Drew Brees decides to retire, it make things a whole lot easier. I mean, that's just some food for thought. Josh says, how do you think they implement Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill into our offense this season? Josh, I'm going to make this plain and simple for you. I don't think Jameis will play at all if Drew Brees stays healthy. I think that we think that Jameis Winston could possibly play because we've seen Teddy Bridgewater play last season, which the only reason why Teddy Bridgewater played last season was because Drew Brees got hurt. Just imagine, man. I don't think that Teddy Bridgewater would be in Carolina if Drew Brees would have stayed healthy all 16 games. So that was actually a blessing in disguise for Teddy Bridgewater. I don't see the same situation. Okay. I mean, we're kind of relying on Drew Brees getting hurt again, that we will actually see Jameis Winston. But if Drew Brees plays all 16 games, no. But when it comes to Taysom Hill, I mean, we all know the different, the different positions he can play. So I think you're going to see him. And, I mean, he's been doing it for the last 3 years. So I think that you'll see Taysom, but I don't think you'll see Jameis unless it's an emergency. And that emergency is Drew Brees getting hurt. The fullback is very important. We're one of a few teams that utilize one. Yeah, very important to the Saints, especially one that can catch out of the backfield. That's when the Saints feel like they really got something. So the truth says, I don't think you can use him as a starting quarterback. He's athletic. We can use him at other positions. The truth, I assume you're talking about Taysom Hill. I don't think I agree with that. I think the play caller that Sean Payton is, I think he can find ways to utilize Taysom Hill. I think that we look at Baltimore, right? We see Lamar Jackson. I'm pretty sure a lot of people didn't think Lamar Jackson was going to be the MVP at this stage of his career. Okay. I mean, his first full year as a starter, he was league MVP. It was because John Harbaugh found ways to maximize the potential of Lamar Jackson. And I feel like Sean Payton can do the same thing. Now, this is my personal opinion. Some people may differ from this, but I feel like when it comes to play calling, Sean Payton is a better play caller than John Harbaugh. Now, John Harbaugh offensively is not a slouch, but I feel like Sean Payton can come up with different ways to make those players stand out. I feel like in the absence of Drew Brees, he completely restructured the offense that made Teddy Bridgewater more comfortable in the pocket and as a quarterback. And we've seen a completely different Saints team. I mean, we've seen an uptick of the running game. We've seen an uptick of the play action. We've seen a few down the field passes. Now, it came a couple weeks. I think maybe 2 weeks into him starting, but we saw it. And we saw like a lot of utilizing of Josh Hill and Jared Cook. So I think that Sean Payton can find packages and find ways to make Taysom Hill more successful in a new, innovative offense. So I don't think I agree with that. The truth, I think that if we're saying that, it's like we're not, putting enough faith and hope in Sean Payton's play calling ability. And I don't think that we should do that. Now, Sean Payton does frustrate us, but one thing we can say is that Sean Payton, he can call some plays, man, and he can have that offense clicking. So Payton says, if the Saints thought Taysom was the future, they never would have picked up Jameis or Teddy. I don't think I agree with that, Payton. I don't. I don't think that has anything to do with it. You have to understand too, Payton. Sometimes guys are just work in progress, right? They're just works in progress, and Taysom Hill was one of those guys. Like we have to understand, man. Like this guy came from an option, 100% of the time playing in a shotgun at BYU. I mean, very little pro style going on at BYU. Okay, it was a lot of option plays. It was a lot of rollouts. You have to teach this guy how to be a quarterback. Versus somebody like Teddy Bridgewater, somebody like Jameis Winston. These guys are pocket passers. I mean, I understand the whole stigma of African-American quarterbacks, right? We just automatically think like they black, he Vic, or, he Lamar Jackson. But these guys are conventional, pocket passing, throw the ball first quarterbacks. And I feel like that's the type of guy that Sean Payton likes. That's the guy that he chooses over a guy that's probably super dynamic. And maybe that's one of the reasons why Lamar Jackson didn't come to New Orleans and they decided to go and get Davenport. Is because of the fact that Sean Payton has had Drew Brees all these years and pretty easy calling plays for a guy that's going to stay in the pocket and stay stationary. Taysom was a work in progress. Jameis is a work in progress, but he has been a starter, and he has proven that he can win in this league. Now, he ain't never go to no playoff, but he has proven that he can win in this league. And Teddy Bridgewater, I mean, he played pretty good, man, until, you know, he ended up getting hurt and being out for almost 2 years. So I don't too much agree with that. I think that he understands that Taysom was a work in progress. I mean, he was. If you watch Taysom Hill the first year that he was with the New Orleans Saints, and I think it was a preseason game against the Arizona Cardinals, I mean, he turned the ball over 5 times. 5 times. I mean, you wouldn't trust him to be on the field as your quarterback either, right? You'll be trying to find other guys that can come in, that if something were to happen to Drew Brees, that those guys can step in and do a pretty admirable job. So I don't think it has anything to do with Taysom Hill not being able to develop. I just feel like the Saints went out and got these guys because they felt these guys would be ready at this particular time if something were to happen to Drew Brees. Taysom is still trying to prove himself. I mean, keep in mind, only 15 passing attempts throughout his entire career. Now, I mean, you can come up with any type of narrative you want. You can say he's not good enough. You can say that nobody believes in him, whatever. I'll leave that up to you. But I'm not ready to concede and say that the Saints don't believe in him. You don't pay a guy $21 million if you don't believe in him. You tell him, well, I think the Patriots want you, or, you know, I think that this team or that team wants you. You know, you don't pay him $21 million. You don't do that, okay? You could have given that to somebody like Von Bell and had him stay, or getting somebody else that could have came in and, you know, and probably would have did some major things in New Orleans. Baddest says, if Sean Payton don't get his head out of his you-know-what and run the football, we're not winning the championship, another championship. I agree with that. You know, I think running the ball is important. And that's kind of, you know, the motto here on the State of the Saints podcast, run the football. It's very important for us to run the football, controlling the time of possession. I don't know. I feel like Sean Payton understands that they need to run the football. One of the reasons I feel this way, Baddest, is because you don't waste the first round pick on a center if you're not trying to commit to the run, okay? You're not trying to do that. You're not going to spend your second round pick when you didn't have a first one last year on the offensive lineman if you don't feel like running is important. And I do think the Saints understand that Drew Brees' time is winding up. Okay, it's winding up, folks. And I don't know if people been here, probably heard me say this before, but I say it again for the people that are new to the State of the Saints podcast. It's very, very simple. Running the football is a young quarterback's best friend. A good defense is a young quarterback's best friend. Now, even though Jameis Winston, for example, if he was to be the successor to Drew Brees and not Taysom, he still would be young in a Saints offense. So you're going to have to run the ball in order to make him feel a little bit more comfortable. And even with Taysom Hill, you're going to have to run the football. You're not going to be able to rely on a guy who has been in a system for the past 15 years and can run the offense pretty much in his sleep. You're not going to have that. What you're going to have is some guys that can actually run the football and some guys that can play really good defense. So I think what the Saints are trying to do, I think they are trying to build their team for post Drew Brees, because make no mistake about it, folks, there are going to be mistakes that we are not normally used to when Drew Brees retires, because there's a lot of things that Drew Brees does, and he puts guys in position. When guys are out of position, you know what I'm saying? He tells them to get there. He can tell the guys where they made mistakes. He can tell a guy where to go if they see certain defenses. Younger quarterbacks, it takes them time in order for them to come to that type of mind frame. So if Sean Payton was smart, Baddest, that would be something that he really needs to focus on, is trying to pay more attention and focus more on the running game. Miguel says, Saints win Super Bowl. Huh? Oh, I wish. I hope. I pray. Dexter says, "Hey TJ and Who That Nation. I just got off work. What did I miss?" Dexter didn't really miss much, man. We're answering questions and people comments and stuff like that. I'll get back to you the truth. Yeah, we're just answering comments and answering questions and stuff like that. We're joking about Taysom Hill. Amy just she made a comment about Taysom Hill, talking about how he's mostly been playing quarterback more so than doing his Swiss Army knife role. So for those that just tuned in, I'll go ahead and play a little bit of that interview with Amy just when she was talking about Taysom Hill. But overall, how has Taysom Hill been in training camp so far? What have you seen from him?
He's looked good. He was getting those, number 2 reps behind Drew, at least for now. He looks good. He hasn't been super involved yet at, wide receiver, tight end, insert position here. So is that indicative of what they plan to do with him? I don't know. Does he need to practice at wide receiver? He does a pretty good job. So we'll see how that ends up working out, but so far so good.
Yeah, I mean, that's the reason why we're having this conversation tonight, Dex, is because of the comment that she made. But I do want to clarify once again. She says that from what she sees, there's a lot of things that go on that the media can't see, because the Saints do have practices that are not open to the media. So from what she's seen, he's just been throwing a football. That doesn't mean that when the Saints get behind closed doors, he's not doing other things and not playing that Swiss Army knife role. But I think it was worth having a conversation, especially since when they did have training camps in the past, he was doing different things, but not so much this time. Baddie says, "My son goes to Belhaven University for sports journalism. He can learn a lot from you, bro." I appreciate that, but I just leave it at that. I appreciate it. Man, shouts out to Belhaven though, man. I remember rolling up in there a couple of times, you know what I'm saying? Like I remember me and a couple of friends of mine, we end up going to a Mexican restaurant, man, and we end up having a little bit too much to drink. I think it was like my junior year. And we brought our drunk tails over to a party at Belhaven, and we just kind of ran through their party and was dancing up in there and everything like this. So I remember those days, man, when I was young and dumb at Jackson State University, man. So shouts out to Belhaven. That just made me think about that story. The Truth says, "Let me ask you this, bro. I hear everyone wants Clowney, Dez, and other players. I think fans have to understand everyone don't fit in our system. Can I get your take on that?" Yeah, I agree with that. Not so much Dez. I feel like Dez can give you a red zone threat. I still think he still can get those 50-50 balls, and I think that Sean Payton can kind of find a role for him if they needed him. They don't need him now. I mean, I want Dez Bryant to find a team. I heard that the Baltimore Ravens weren't going to sign him. I feel bad for him. I feel like Dez was kind of blackballed out of the league. But as far as Clowney is concerned, man, I'm just not buying the hype. I don't get it. I do not get it. I don't understand why people are just so crazy about this guy. I mean, what has he done? I mean, 3 sacks last season, but he in the backfield. I'm like, but he ain't getting no sacks. I mean, that's kind of the reason why we hating on a frustrated with Davenport, because we feel like he ain't getting enough sacks. At least he had 6 before he got hurt. I mean, Clowney had 3. And we up here thinking this guy's going to be all world and he's just going to change the fortunes of the New Orleans Saints defense. Nah. Do I feel like he can do some things in the Saints defense? Yeah. Do I think he can contribute? Yeah. But for me to go out here and spend the type of money that he's asking for to bring him in, he's not a guy that's just going to rock my defense and shake the foundation of it. Hell's to the nah. I ain't about to waste my money on that. I don't get it. Now, if we're talking about somebody like J.J. Watt in his 5th or 6th year, now you're talking. Okay, look, I'll break the bank for that. Aaron Donald, yeah. You know what I'm saying? If I had the bread. But Jadeveon Clowney, man, honestly, he just been making it off namesake, man. That's it. He's been making it off namesake for a while. And, I'm always I'm always skeptical about guys that I see in college that take plays off. I am. Okay. I can understand you're making business decisions, quote unquote business decisions, right? You know what I'm saying? I get it. But when guys taking plays off like that, man, it just makes me question their character, because I look at guys like I respect the hell out of, like Willis McGahee back in Miami, right? Willis McGahee, man, was a beast, okay? Bona fide certified beast. And, you know, he tore his ACL, his LCL, his MCL, his NAACP, his FBI, his CIA, all in that game against the Ohio State Buckeyes, right? But man, if he didn't tear all those things, he would have been a top 3, top 4 draft pick. But he wanted to go out there and be there for his team. Okay, but when you look at somebody like Jadeveon Clowney, I just feel like he just kind of phoned it in. You know, like he'll show like a couple plays, like when he I think when he hit Denard Robinson, when Denard Robinson quarterbacking at Michigan and he knocked his helmet off. That was like the one highlight everybody was showing. But he didn't do anything else after that. And then I felt like, you know, it was kind of in bad taste. Like right after it was a bowl game and he said on the field he was going to enter the draft. I mean, man, your team just won a bowl game and it should be about the team, man. Like you could have told the team the next day or told the media the next day or something like that. I'm always skeptical about guys like that. And when a guy plays opposite side of one of the greatest pass rushers in NFL history and you can't get double-digit sacks, once again, I don't understand the hype, folks. I don't get it. I do not get it at all. Jackson is a great college town. Yeah, Jermaine. Yeah, you remember? Man. You remember them parties and stuff like that, man? Q Delta weekend, man. You know, going to out there in Hattiesburg when you was at USM, man. I remember those days, man. Going to Mississippi State, man. I remember them times too, man. Shouts out to Q Delta weekend. Do they still have Q Delta weekend, man? I mean, I ain't been at Jackson State for over a decade, so that used to be pretty fun right there, man. So Q Delta weekend, going to Millsaps, going to Belhaven, Tougaloo, you know, like, man, my goodness, man, those were some good times right there. How do you feel about our fullbacks or our current roster? Zach Line was a beast, hard act to follow. Well, I don't know. You know, honestly, I ain't really been paying attention to the fullbacks. Once again, that's not a position that a lot of people pay attention to, unfortunately. But hopefully, you know, I'll probably have some more information for you next time we have a show. I have not been following fullbacks. I'm not gonna lie to you on that. I ain't even gonna try to fake it to make it on that. Chosen says, TJ, who your favorite Saint on this current roster? On this current roster? Oh, man, Michael Thomas. Hands down. Michael Thomas and Marshawn Lattimore. Those are my two favorite Saints on this roster right now. I like Alvin Kamara too, but Michael Thomas and Marshawn Lattimore, those are the two guys that I like the most. TJ, what do you think led to Nigel Bradham being cut? The depth at linebacker. I mean, it's just as simple as that. The depth at linebacker, the chemistry of the linebacker room, the guys they already had. He was the odd man out. I mean, it's just as simple as that. All those offseason activities that probably could have helped him make the team didn't happen. Therefore, he probably on his way to Carolina. Ken Arthur also says, I'm over Clowney. I say invest fully in Davenport. I agree with that. I agree with that. Hands down. I like Davenport. I don't understand what the scrutiny is all about. Guys get hurt, okay? But at the same time, when he's on the field, God does a pretty good job. And we got to remember, this guy had he was starting to come alive now. He was starting to come alive. He had 4 sacks in 2 weeks, folks. 4 sacks in 2 weeks, okay, before he ended up getting hurt. So let's not forget that now. He was turning the corner. The truth says, that's all I wanted to hear. We got to stop looking at names. Yeah, man, we got to stop looking at them names. Like, we love a name. We thought Adrian Peterson was about to come. We see Peterson, oh, snap. We see Champ Bailey, oh, snap. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, these guys are like, you know, not what they used to be. And if they were, trust and believe. These guys would not be out here for us to sign. You know, I mean, there's a reason why these guys are out there. You know, it's rather his injury or it's rather some things that teams have seen or noticed, and they felt like, well, you know, we got everything we can get about this player, and good luck to you, you know, in your future endeavors, you know. But I think we need to pay attention to that and not just the name. I played at Jackson State in 2009 to 2012. Yeah, man. Man, bruh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear that. Okay, I'm sorry to hear that. All them championships, man, y'all should have won. Oh, man, like before all these things happened with the New Orleans Saints, my goodness. Back in 2008, you know, we did win the SWAC. I just want to let that be known. That was my senior year. But man, y'all had a good run, man. But y'all were the New Orleans Saints of the SWAC. I ain't gonna lie about that, man. Like that 98-yard touchdown against Pine Bluff, that double overtime game against Southern. I mean, the year they screwed us when we had Casey Terrio, when that boy was a bona fide certified beast. When y'all was out there, man, y'all was out there running that air raid offense. When we went 10-1. Ah, man. Y'all should at least have about 2 championships, man. But they ended up screwing Jackson State, man. And they didn't want that smoke when Casey Terrio was there. They did not want the smoke. Like, no, none of them FBS teams actually wanted the smoke when Casey Terrio was there at all. Okay, so but I ain't gonna lie to you, they were the New Orleans Saints of the SWAC. Because man, y'all, honestly, that game against Pine Bluff, my goodness, 98-yard touchdown in the championship. How in the hell? I don't know, man. I won't beat you up. I'm pretty sure you was hurting about that too, man. But man, shouts out to you, man. Y'all had a good run though. Kappa Sigma class of 09, man. Shouts out to you, man. Yeah, man, we got some Jackson State Tigers and some Mississippi representatives up in here, man. I appreciate that. We got New Orleanians in here. We got Oakland, California, man. We all over. Ronald says, do you think New Orleans will ever have a Major League Baseball team? I don't see why they don't. I really don't. I don't see why they don't. I feel like people love baseball in the state of Louisiana. I mean, they've been following LSU baseball for years, okay, from the days of Skip Bertman back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that a lot of people would be emotionally invested in Major League Baseball. Don't understand it. I think that's something that Major League Baseball need to, visit. You know, I think that if there's a billionaire out there that may want to, throw their hat in the race to possibly bring Major League Baseball to New Orleans, I'll be all for that. I mean, who knows? Maybe Gail Benson could own all 3 major sports teams in the state of Louisiana. I mean, who knows? So that is something I feel like needs to be discussed, without a doubt. TJ, what's the latest on training camp and Bond's injury? Yeah, Bond did walk off, but not serious at all. Probably this day helped him a lot. You know, the fact that they were off. I think we're going to see him on the field on tomorrow. If they have practice and it's open to the public, I'm pretty sure you'll hear from the media saying that he was back at practice. He's doing an outstanding job, man. And he's running with the ones. I'm going to say that again, King Arthur. He's running with the ones. So can't be no scrub running with the first team. Brian says the only thing New Orleans has is a minor league baseball team. They have to get an owner for Major League Baseball team. Now, what I said, Gail Benson, she got that Skrilla. You know, get a baseball team up in here. TJ, you should do a cameo on the Saints Happy Hour podcast. Jonathan, any podcast that wants me to be on there, just let me know. I mean that. I don't look. I'm not about, man, how many subscribers you got, how many views you got. Look, I started off with 1 subscriber, and that subscriber was me. Okay. I mean, I'm just being honest. Like, we're on the road to 4,000 subscribers, But my goodness, man, like it took a long time even to get to this point. Okay, and some people may say, man, 4,000 ain't that much, but to me, man, it's a milestone to me. Okay, so I get it when you're starting out and you have a dream and a vision. I'll never shortchange anybody like that because I wouldn't want anybody to do that to me. So, I mean, I'm open to anybody. The Saints Happy Hour podcast. I'm going to be on Who That Nation chat line on Friday. I'm going to be on a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans podcast on Saturday, man, along with a Falcon fan and a Carolina Panther fan. I mean, I'm open, I mean, just let me know, man, any way I can help because that's what it's all about, that's what it's all about. It's about helping one another. It's not about big eyes and little U's. And that's something that really bothers me, man. It bothers me. Like when people like start to get their channel growing, they start forgetting about the people that helped them get to that point, or they feel like, they become big league and all that kind of stuff, start avoiding messages, avoiding tweets. Like, man, like, how dare you, in my opinion? Like, how dare you forget about the people that help you get to where you are for you even to feel discontent? I mean, I don't know, man. I don't have that type of mind frame, I guess, but I mean, I'm just happy, I'm just happy to do this show. I don't feel like, I didn't made it or anything like that. Like in my mind, man, I'm just like, what's next? And that's just the way that I work. So, yeah, that's the way that I work. Jackson State is a fire football team is worth a youngin investing 3 to 5 years in. Not lately, Jermaine. Not lately. Man, I feel like I'm bashing my school, man, but I gotta tell the truth, shame the devil, as the old folks say. Not very good these days. I mean, man, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I have to kind of turn my head a tad bit, you know what I'm saying? Like when I watch them. Homecoming, man, my goodness. Man, all I can say is, man, thank God for friendships and hugs that be out there, and you be looking for people that you ain't seen in over a decade, you know what I'm saying? Because Lord have mercy, this team has sucked over the past decade. Yeah, back when we were in college, man, like we were good, right? We were good, but not anymore. Not anymore. But I hope that I have a different conversation for years to come. Jazzy Jeff, man, real talk. He says I subscribe to your channel earlier because of Real Talk Perez stopped by to check it out. Yeah, man, Jazzy, man, is a Falcon fan, man. Y'all take it easy on him. He has a podcast as well, man. Very very solid dude. Real Talk Perez is the show we're actually going to be on Saturday, man. Jazzy Jeff, I want to say I can't think of the guy that's the Panthers fan. He's going to be on there too, but Real Talk Perez is a Buccaneers fan, so we just gonna chop it up, man. Talk NFC South. So, man, shouts out to you, Jazzy. Appreciate you, man, for coming on the podcast, man, being a part of it. Oh yeah, they love baseball on the third coast. Louisiana and Mississippi loves baseball. Yeah, they do a lot, a whole lot, a whole lot. Which is, like I said, I cannot believe Louisiana never had a major MLB team. Never. Julian says, "Hey TJ. I got to tell you a color from a Lone Face fan. Who that, baby? I really enjoy your show. My question for you is, how do you think Winston or Taysom taking over for Drew once he retires? This is how I feel about it. I feel like the best man going to win. I feel like Taysom Hill has the advantage right now. But I will say this. Jameis Winston has the arm strength. He has the skills. He has the tools that a lot of teams want in a quarterback. And one thing Jameis Winston never had is a running game. Okay, he always suffered. He had to be that guy to throw the ball a million gazillion times because he never really had a solid running back. I mean, he had Doug Martin, but Doug Martin was in and out of the lineup dealing with injuries when Jameis Winston was a rookie. And he wasn't the Doug Martin, the muscle hamster that we all feared the first couple years coming out of Boise State. So I think that's going to help out Jameis a lot. And it is also going to help him with his decision making because he's going to feel like he doesn't have to do a whole lot. But if I was to put my money on who is going to be Drew Brees' successor, I would have to say it's going to be Jameis Winston, not Taysom Hill. I mean, sorry. I mean, that's just the way it is right now. I just feel like Taysom has the advantage because he's been in the system longer. But you can't deny the skills that Jameis has. You can't. And if you can, build up his confidence and put a running game behind him, I mean, he might be the quarterback that we all thought he would be coming out in 2015. Ryan says, why don't one time on your show you do a roundtable with you, a Carolina Panthers podcast guy, and a Tampa Bay Buccaneers podcast guy, and an Atlanta Falcons podcast guy? Pick your brains. Man, I actually do a show like that. It's called the NFC South versus the NFL. I got Mike Ricks, DJ Hopkins, man. We've been looking for a Falcon fan to do the show for a while. We kind of just I think we had like a Falcon fan on there maybe once. But it just, we be talking about, different storylines from our respective teams. So I already do that, I already do that with those guys, and I enjoy it. Shouts out to them, man. I know they check out the show from time to time as well, man. They're doing some big things too, and we got some things coming up in this season, so y'all be on the lookout for that too. TJ had negotiations move with AK. They're in motion right now, but I haven't heard anything come down just yet. But there are some contract negotiations happening, so I'll keep you posted if I hear anything. John just says, who that confessional too? Yeah, man. Shouts out to Deuce Winham and Ross Jackson, man, and Elijah. Man, shouts out to those guys. I checked out the show, the last one they did. Man, they do an outstanding job, man. I mean, the way Deuce breaks down film and he can just actually just see, you know what I'm saying? Like, these players and be able to evaluate them the way that he does. And Ross, man, doing his podcast and contributing in a big way. And Elijah, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, those guys do an outstanding job, man. So, man, shouts out to them, man. I mean, I ain't got nothing but love and respect for those guys, man. Real talk. Julian says, shouts out from Salt Lake Tahoe. I apologize for the audio text. I'm a longtime Saints fan. Julian, thank you very much for checking out the podcast. I really do appreciate it, man. I appreciate all of the new faces and new comments that I see, the unfamiliar faces here, man. Thank y'all very much. I appreciate you stopping by. Let's see. Julian also had a question. Say, my question for you is a different skill set that both Taysom and Winston bring to our team. I'm curious as to what direction you think we are going to go in the future post Breeze. That's a good question. Whoever the best quarterback is, Sean Payton will put an offense around him that is going to cater to his skill set. I mean, like I said, when Drew Brees went down with and Teddy Bridgewater came into the game, that was a completely different offense that we seen. It wasn't the same offense that we seen when Drew was there. Sean Payton had to go and pick out plays that made Teddy feel comfortable. And I feel like rather it's Taysom, he is going to find an offense that caters to Taysom's skill set, or Jameis, he's going to do the same thing. So I don't think there's a complete answer for that. I think it's just whoever he picks and, picking out, what their strengths are. If you think Jackson State suck, you should check out the Jaguars, bro. They so damn sorry they lose at practice, but it's the home team, man. I mean, I like Southern University, man. Shouts out to them. I won't say that too loud because they all went out bitter rivalries, man. Those games be so hostile, but I don't know, man. I mean, they've been in championship contention a few times, been there more than Jackson State was. So I ain't gonna say nothing. I ain't gonna say that too much. I ain't gonna say nothing too bad about them, but I think they're pretty good. I mean, Grambling just been dominating over the last couple of years. I mean, they've had I think they had that guy Kincaid who came from Ole Miss. So I know Dearius Christmas, a young guy out of Vicksburg, man. I used to play basketball in the gym with him, man. I was very invested in him. So man, they had a good talented team. So ain't no shame in losing to Grambling over the last couple of years. I mean, but they can't beat A&T for some apparent reason. Flowers was a good pickup. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Deuce Wenham said you should come on my show to discuss our farts. Deuce, I'll be ripping them. Wenham, thank you very much for the $2. I appreciate that. I'll be always trying to find ways to infiltrate the chat and coming up with these different names. But for some apparent reason, we can always find out that it's I'll be ripping them for some apparent reason. I can't put my finger on how I can just figure this out on anybody else in the chat, but I don't know. I don't know what gives it away. I really don't. I think I'll find out one day. Man, shouts out to my guy Joe. Says, TJ, do you think PJ Williams is teaching Marcus Williams how to tackle? Man, what day and age are we living in? We really are in 2020. I mean, the fact that we're asking PJ Williams to teach somebody how to do anything in the secondary. My goodness, how far have we come? I don't know, man. Joe, tackling is something that you got to have in your mind to do, okay? There's nothing nobody can ever tell you. They can't be like, man, you know what I'm saying? Like, you tackle this way, grab this guy's leg this way. Look, you got to want it. You got to want it. And you can't be afraid, okay? You can't be out there closing your eyes and you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to lay the wood. You get what I'm saying? You got to lay the wood. You got to be out there ready to inflict some pain on the opposition. And it's rather you want to do it or you don't. And for years, it seemed like Marcus Williams does not want to do it. Can't be too sexy back there, man. You can't be back there all finesse. A safety can't be finesse, okay? You got to have an edge to be safety. There's a reason why we look at people like Ed Reed and Brian Dawkins and Troy Polamalu and Bob Sanders. That's one reason why we look at those guys and we have so much respect for them, because they played like they had a screw loose, okay? I mean, he's a smart kid. He graduated from Utah with a 4.0 grade point average, okay? I get it. But at the same time, dude, come on, man. You cannot be playing safety and be afraid to lay the wood. You can't. And it's nothing that PJ Williams can teach you to help you in that regard. Okay, it's rather you want it or you don't. Plain and simple. How's that planning doing and the kicker return team? I guess they're doing pretty good. I guess they're doing pretty good. I guess so. How's the punt return team? Oh, okay, he's at a punt return team. I don't know. I guess they're doing good. I ain't hear nothing else. The special teams has been one of the brighter spots on the Saints team over the last couple of years. Julian says, I totally agree. Jameis has so much talent. He's only 26 years old. The ceiling is high with his talent. And under Sean Payton and sitting on a bench studying Drew Brees. Yeah, I agree, man. I think that Jameis Winston, in order to help his confidence, in order to build him up, I think less of Jameis this year is more. You know what I mean? More for him as a quarterback is going to help him become a better student of the game. It's going to give him those mental reps that he needs in order for him to see the field in a whole different light. It's going to be a lesson for him in humility because, I mean, he's always been the guy. So it's going to help him. The truth says, to be honest, our coaches need to teach our O-line how to pass gas at scrimmage. They should create a wall of farts on every play, giving Brees 2 lines of defense to protect him. The truth hurts. AKA, I be ripping them. Thank you very much for that comment. I don't know, man. That's something maybe Sean Payton need to look into. I don't know, if the referees would have a problem with that or not, or the NFL. Maybe some fines would be put out. But Joe says Marcus Williams must be single because he ain't laying in the Oh, man. I don't know about the man's love life. I don't know, man. All I know is this, Joe. The guy needs to be a little bit more physical. You cannot be a safety and be that soft. I'm just saying, you can't be soft being a safety. I don't even want to call them soft. You just got to be more aggressive. You just got to be more aggressive. That's a more kind way of putting it. John Thompson says, "Hey TJ, I hear Joe Bocci is putting in work. How many linebackers will the Saints keep? You're gonna have to keep more than usual, John, because we're dealing with a pandemic. Number one. Number two, you don't know if guys are going to test positive from week to week or from day to day. So you're going to need a good, strong rotation. I feel like he's going to do most of his damage on special teams. And maybe if he starts to develop and practice and the Saints give him extra reps and he takes advantage of those reps, then maybe you'll see him in real-time action. But I do think he'll make the team, but I think he'll be on special teams. The truth says Malcolm Jenkins is going to show these guys how to come together in the backfield. Yeah, I think his leadership will play a vital role, the truth. I think it's going to play a vital role in that success. I think you finally have a guy that the game is not too big for him in crucial situations. This guy's a two-time Super Bowl winning champion. He was the heart and soul and the leader of the Philadelphia Eagles team for the past 6 years. And I just think that he just comes in and he just demands respect. I mean, when you have that type of resume coming into any organization, guys' ears are going to perk up and they're going to be listening a little bit more attentively than you probably would from a guy who is just coming in, probably have a few little skins on his wall, but not too much hardware to show for it. So Malcolm Jenkins is a guy that I feel like the defense in the secondary is going to lean on heavily, and I think he's going to answer the call. I mean, he even mentioned in his press conference, he talked about how he was just shocked how over the past couple of years this team has not been in a Super Bowl. And he talked about like some of these fourth quarter mishaps. He says that he wants to make sure that he does his job and making sure that stuff doesn't happen. And I believe him. So SY, Dab King YT says Saints party Sunday, the 21st in Las Vegas at the what is that? Venetian, starting at the 5 p.m. Who that takeover? Man, if you're in Vegas, check it out. Check it out if you out there, man. Shoot, I wish if I was in Vegas. If I was, man, I definitely would be out in that thing. And I know that's supposed to be what's that, week 2, right? Because the Saints go out to Vegas to play the Raiders. So, man, party it up, man. Represent the Who Dat Nation to the best of your ability, man. Y'all go out there and y'all be out there loud and proud. Coronavirus says, thank you. Thank you very much for the $2. And it says, even I can't stop a focused Who Dat Nation. Yeah, coronavirus. I look, we don't want none of that negative energy from you, okay? Look, we need a good, solid season. We don't need no distractions. We don't need any guys testing positive. We want to see all hands on deck. All hands on deck. We want to see all hands on deck in order for the New Orleans Saints to become Super Bowl champions, okay? This is the year. I mean, this is the year I feel like can change everything. I feel like they have a good combination. The defense looks good. Linebackers, good rotation. Secondary look good. Offensive line is starting to get young and vibrant, and I feel like those guys are going to do something. The running backs look good. We got a platoon of quarterbacks in case Drew Brees go down. No stone left unturned here. No stone left unturned. Keen Arthur says, TJ, are there any positions on offense and defense that concern you? I pretty much answered that question just a second ago. I don't think so. I think they straight. Need all hands on deck. Fowler was a good pickup. He's been cooking all camp. Yeah, Fowler. He's been doing a good job, man. Good solid route runner there. I think he's going to be on special teams too. But the fact that Drew Brees likes him kind of helps him. Helps him out a lot. The last one says, Danny says, hell no. He's working on getting pocket work, but he's still going to be dynamic. Okay, I mean, fair. I see we got a Taysom Hill fan in here. And I don't want anybody to think. I mean, there's like, we really don't know. I mean, we don't have a crystal ball. We're not Nostradamus. We're not Miss Cleo. You know what I'm saying? We can't see into the future. We don't know who the future of the New Orleans Saints is. And honestly, I'm going to be honest, I really don't care. I really don't care who it is. As long as that guy can come in, control the offense, and win games for the Who Dat Nation and the Saints organization. I can care less if it's Jameis, if it's Taysom, if it's a rookie, that's coming out of college. I could care less as long as he can get the job done. That's the most important thing to me. But I want to say thank you all for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you so much for your comments and your questions. And if I didn't answer your question, you can always inbox me on facebook.com, search the State of the Saints podcast, or you can email me at stateofthesaints@gmail.com. That's stateofthesaints@gmail.com. And I'm also asking everyone in the Who Dat Nation that has been following the State of the Saints podcast, I'm asking for your help. I'm asking for your help with this one, okay? I'm really trying to push the State of the Saints podcast in audio form, on iHeart, on Spotify, on Anchor FM. So I'm asking you to please subscribe to the State of the Saints podcast. Look, if you got an iPhone, check it out, on Apple Podcasts. If you have an Android, Google Podcasts. But I'm really asking you all to please check out the State of the Saints podcast in audio form. Some of you probably check out all the videos that I do, and I appreciate that. But there might be a time where you're probably in the gym getting your swole on, or you're probably at work and you can't pull it up because you're probably typing something. You're probably multitasking. So I want the audio podcast to be available for you. So I'm asking you to take a few minutes, go to iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or Anchor FM, and subscribe to the State of the Saints podcast on one of those streaming apps. So I really appreciate that. That's what I'm asking of you. That's a little homework assignment I got for the Who Dat Nation and the viewers of the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you all once again. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're on the road to 4,000 subscribers, and hopefully you'll be on that road with us. So thank you very much for your love and your support. YouTube.com, search the State of the Saints podcast. Once again, tomorrow on the State of the Saints podcast, we have what we got? I forgot the guy's name. My bad. I mean, we got a Saints reporter, man. I mean, his name escapes me, man. I'm sorry. I got so many interviews. I'm losing track on people, but he will be on the State of the Saints pod. Rob Walker, man, my goodness, it's been a long day, folks. I've done 3 interviews today, and this is actually the 4th show I've done. So Rob Walker will be on the State of the Saints podcast on tomorrow. Jermaine Bushrod will be on the State of the Saints podcast on Thursday. So thank you all very much, and have a good night, evening, or morning. And like always, all I got to say is, who dat?